Well, here we are for another really quick and probably terribly edited gardening video. I'm just going to show you what I'm getting on with tonight. I'm going to be doing these more frequently, as I said, probably shorter and less polished than some of the other videos that I do. So please don't say the other videos aren't polished. Anyway, in the garden it has been a scorchio afternoon. This morning was quite cool. It is Wednesday the 14th of May and it's later on the evening now. It is still boiling hot. It's been like this for days. We've had no rain for what feels like weeks now. So we've been manually watering, and that's a pain in the backside in itself, to be quite honest, although it can be nice if you're just doing it for half an hour or so. When it takes longer than that, it becomes a bit of a chore. Things are growing well still. There's a couple of things I'll show you as we're going around, but I'm starting off. I need to get some weeding done. These are the onion beds here. At the bottom of this onion bed, I think these are all red. The bottom of this one is some garlic. What a terrible year for garlic I'm having. Is that just me? In fact, I don't even know if any has survived. So I'm going to get this weeded and I'll meet you down the bottom. But what I was on about down here, this is where all of the garlic was. I mean, some of this bed, obviously still yet to weed, is doing okay. There's bits of garlic which, to be honest, looks absolutely shocking. It should be rivaling the onions at this point. I'd even forgotten I'd put some garlic in at this point. Now there's going to be shadows, so excuse me. I accidentally pulled one out thinking it was a weed. And this is what we've got going on under the surface. I mean, that's just absolutely pathetic. It's not worth, I don't think, even trying to grow the rest of this bed on. There was one that was already picked out or plucked out, and that was further down the bed, just strewn in the middle. So I'm going to get rid of them. And I think, to be quite honest, I'll probably plant the end of this with something else. I'm going to give it a really good water after I've got this bed weeded as well. And then I'm going to mound them up so that they're standing up a little bit more and lots of water in the roots. But I'm going to get this bed weeded first, and then I need to go up this pathway somehow and get at least the biggest weeds out of here, because that's going to turn into a jungle otherwise, and we don't want to be getting overwhelmed this year. Hello, mister. Rodney, why don't you go in the shade? Clearly too hot, living his best life, but he's only just come out, so he'll be fine for a bit. And he's got a bowl of water over there. His brother, Buster, is in the vet's getting a check today. Fingers crossed he's fine. He's gone in with Grace while she's working there. And Annie, the big dog, has now got a limp, so everybody is getting all together. That's 2 done, and I think we have got that row of garlic. Well, 3 of them looks okay, 3 there, and then that one's pretty much done for, and a couple here, and that is the entirety of my garlic, because I put some on this bed here. So that looks like lettuce. Yes, because the garlic died. It did exactly the same thing. I think it's more to do with lack of water and probably when it got planted. So I think this year definitely going to be getting them in earlier in the autumn, and then if they fail, at least I've still got the spring planting to do. Anywho, on to some very, very exciting things. As I've been going up here, I've been weeding this broad bean bed, and I didn't know about these guys. Look! Broad beans, one of my absolute favourite vegetables. So this needs weeding too, but I was going to show you, the ones I was going to show you was actually on the other side, because I've been, obviously where I come in here, I notice them the most. Look. That's so fantastic. Again, excuse the shadow. So what I'm going to do, I can't water those beds just yet. Somebody else is using the water for the animals, so I'm going to come along and get all of the broad beans watered too. Don't think there's much to weeded. I don't think there's much weeding to do in this bed. There's the odd bit like these here in between the carrots and the radish. That was a radish, whoops. So they're going to be easy to weed. A couple there. Remind me not to pull the parsnips out this time instead of the weeds. And then we'll see how we get on. This empty bit here, I said I was going to put some lettuce in. With how dry it's been, I just haven't been able to get it in and stay on top of the seeds. But I'm thinking tomorrow's due to be a bit cooler. Maybe I've got a fighting chance of starting to get the soil, the compost a little bit more retaining of the water. Anyway, what I was going to show you here, I'm glad that I hung fire, because the apple mint that was here, that we did remove, of course, even if you leave a millimetre of mint, it will regenerate. Well, especially when you don't want it to. I did try and grow mint once years ago and killed it. So, you know, it's swings and roundabouts and all of that good stuff. So apple mint is coming up through here. I'm actually taking it out as it's coming through and trying to weaken the plant, but knowing me, I'm just going to be making it stronger. So next job, get this weeded. Shouldn't take long at all. Well, it has cooled off drastically, especially in the shade. It's really cold in the shade. It's not so bad stood in the direct sun. We've now got all, turn around, those 3 beds there weeded, and I started watering and I thought get the weeding finished first, because the watering, once I start it, I'll end up doing it and won't want to do anything else. And what I've done as well is the beds behind me, so if we go back to the first bed that's got the radish and the lettuce, the radish, the spinach, the bunch and spring onions as well, and there's some turnips and stuff in there too, beetroot as well. All that's weeded. It took like literally 1 minute. And this bed here, there's a few parsnips actually. It's going to have a quick look at those, but it's weeded all the same. So you can see what I actually did. So there's a line here, 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 and in between the calendula. This is a good example of parsnips that are coming up. Can you see the line is actually a slightly darker? That's because I put compost in, like multi-purpose compost, because this here was all just topsoil that we got bought in. So yeah, compost lines, sowed the parsnip seed, tried to do them singularly to try to do really well this year, which wasn't so bad, except where we've had really sporadic germination. So there's clearly one missing here, that may be one there, but anyway, you get the point. So what I'm going to do, as well as a whole host of other things that need direct sowing in the next 1 to 2 weeks at the latest, is get the more parsnips put in, more carrots put in, all of those good things, beetroots, etc, etc. So next bed I'm going to weed is this one here, which has got all of, well, a lot of, because it's not all of them, the baked potato squashing. This is the variety that we absolutely love and has fared the best for us, lasted the longest here in the northeast of England. So we shall be growing as many of these as we can. Not looking too bad in terms of there's been a little bit of yellowing of the leaves, but they're not the first leaves. So these are all looking quite well, but you can see volunteer potatoes. So I'm going to do this bed next. This bed also needs doing, the strawberry bed. Look at the amount of thistles that's in there, but that's the job that when I come out I want to get on and start that straight away. So that's not going to be a tonight job. I'm going to get all of these out, and then I've missed one there, and then I'm going to get all of the rest of those watered. Now, because it would be super boring just to watch me watering the plants, at least it would for me, I'm going to quickly show you a few other things that we've got going on in the garden, and then I'm going to get on and do that and get this video uploaded. This bed here also has volunteer, that's not one, but they are volunteer potatoes. So what I mean by that, just in case you're brand new to gardening, is where potatoes were grown in the compost that's in this bed, or in this bed last year, i.e. we've brought the compost in and we've brought either potato peelings or potatoes that have just been thrown out because they went a bit mushy or something. Whatever's left in there is basically throwing up shoots and trying to reproduce new potatoes. Don't blame it. Along here I've put in the Greek gigantes beans, and they are already starting to try and climb. So Stephen is going to get the rest of this arch that he's just made finished this weekend, in terms of to provide them something to climb on. However he's going to do it, I'm not too sure. And also look at this. Every year we laugh at this because the rhubarb, this one in particular, I mean, can you see? If I put my hand on here, I can't even zoom out to see the size of that leaf. It's absolutely massive. They all are, but problem is they're encroaching on the currants. So these are the black currants, and they're coming along absolutely lovely. This bush always produces really well, but obviously if this rhubarb here encroaches on them too much, as are the others on the other currants, so in the middle is red and at the end is white, then we won't get as good a crop as if it wasn't encroaching. So I need to make sure that I get a load of that harvested over the next couple of days, and then spend some time in the kitchen preserving it. The raspberries, so I don't cut my raspberries down every year. There's a mixture here of summer and autumn fruiting, and you're supposed to treat them differently, prune them differently. Now you can see that this is starting to bud on last year's wood, but nothing's happening on this wood, so that's going to tell me that I can actually take those out. There's a few of these that you can maybe see the completely different colour, and where it's put up new shoots, like this one that's green, that's coming off last year's. Actually, that's not raspberry, that's a blooming sucker. that's a raspberry leaf there. Anyway, where you can see that they're clearly a different colour and it's fresh growth, obviously that'll stay for this year and for next year. But where it's completely done and brittle, those can come out with some tweezers, I was going to say, secateurs on the bottom. Get that tidied up, shouldn't take too long. And then look at these. Can you see? Gooseberries are coming thick and fast. This is a really prolific gooseberry patch on all of them actually. This is the, get my shadow out the way. They've come on leaps and bounds with the heat of the last few weeks. And there's one down there in between. I'll just get myself out the way, competing with nettles and weeds over this side, but we know about that. Aren't they fab? I've had a plan with the gooseberries. So I recently did a rhubarb barbecue sauce and it passed the test with the teenagers. They really liked it. So the plan is, I was thinking maybe I could also put in a few gooseberries and they wouldn't know. They probably will. Maybe that's a step too far. And then if we go around here, next job as well as the strawberry bed is to take out as many of these Jerusalem artichokes as possible because they really are taking over. So yeah, they're going to come out. Even though we take them out and we eat some, it's just every year they just multiply. And look, you can see it coming in the pathway as well. Complete thugs. These are the potatoes. Again, this needs hoeing and I'm going to mound them up. So you can see the rows that I've tried to do coming along quite well until you get over here. And I don't know if that's because they're a later variety, quite possibly, but I've just noticed something's been digging them up and I've just noticed that more have been dug up as well, and that's not going to go down well. Damn. I don't know where you belonged, but we'll just put you in there for now. I'm gonna have to go and get my dibber and put that in properly. So yeah, they're doing not so bad. Needs a bit of a hoe. It won't take long at all to get that done. And then that'll look a lot prettier. Along here, beans are doing amazing. So clearly I sowed all of these first. A lot thicker because I had tons of these ones. Sorry, as I was saying, I just had to ring and make sure that dog that's barking was okay. Anyway, it's fine. You'll probably hear more on that on one of our vlogs anyway. It's not a gardening related thing. So these ones here I didn't sow as thickly, clearly, and that's because I didn't have as many. So these were kindly gifted to me off Ali. These are the marifats, and there's some first early, just normal eating peas, shelling peas, whatever you want to call them. And these two rows here, you can see they've got the tags. I've already got them. Is that one? I thought that was one coming up. It's not. So we've got succotash beans in here, the 1500-year-old cave bean, violet climbing. These are all climbing. Violet climbing, just a French bean, white lady, trail of tears, and oh yeah, that's all trail of tears. So hopefully I mean, I'm watching those every day. It doesn't look like it at the minute, but honestly I am. So fingers crossed. It's exactly the same as what happened with these. So fingers crossed they'll come up. I did wonder if these were going to be coming up or not, but they have. So I've got every faith that those ones will too. Then we've got the Munch 2 and the Sugar Snap. I can't remember which way around they are in here and in here. What I've done here is because I put a sowing in and they haven't come through very well. There's one or two and I started panicking, thinking I'm gonna have a big gap. What do I do? So I've put in the spare Greek gigantes that I've got and some sweet peas that look a little bit yellow, but I've got hope that they'll come along and be quite happy. On the very end I've got another, just a shelling eating pea, Champion of England. And then on that side are all alderman with a bit of a gap. I did catch the blackbird in here, so I'm thinking that she's had a good scran. And then obviously volunteer potatoes, because you've got to have volunteer potatoes in every bed. Although that's not a potato, that looks more like a squash or something. So how I'm managing things, step back a bit, is that better? There we go. So how I'm managing things, literally giving myself a couple of jobs to do every night, as well as the watering. Sometimes they are really quick but big difference jobs if you in terms of doing the weeding. So it's quick, but you notice a big difference when it's done. That's what I mean by that. And then there's the other things like that strawberry bed. That's going to be a royal pain because the ground's so dry and those thistles are obviously super sharp. Need a decent pair of gloves to take those out. So like that, and the Jerusalem artichoke. So tomorrow night probably Friday night, because tomorrow night I've got something on. I will be out here and I'll tackle the strawberry bed, and then the next day, being the weekend, we'll get a lot more done over the weekend. So I'll get to everything. It's just a case of prioritising the jobs. Getting the seeds in direct sown is higher up on the list than a lot of other things, because without those, clearly we won't have anything to eat, or very little. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye now. So a really quick check-in in the garden, and I will catch up with you. I've got some other different short clippy videos coming out, and we've got the usual vloggy ones as well. So I'll see you when I see you, but thank you for joining me, and happy growing.